Thank you, Randy, and we'll go right back to our callers. Next up, Kevin in Texas. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm really struggling with this about divorce and remarriage.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been married, but the only thing I can find in church is women that have been divorced. I'm just struggling if it's okay to marry a woman who's been divorced.
Well, I think this is something that requires a whole lot more than an electronic soundbite. It requires pastoral counseling within the context of a healthy, well-balanced church, because there are a lot of factors. For example, a woman could be divorced and free to remarry. And Paul makes that absolutely clear in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Because if, in fact, the unfaithful or unbelieving spouse leaves the relationship, and that relationship is thus severed, let's say the unbelieving spouse marries someone else, then you're not bound in that circumstance, according to Paul. However, if the believer and the unbeliever are in a situation where the unbeliever shouldn't have gotten married in the first place, but wants to stay, you shouldn't get a divorce. So Paul parses this out. So there's a lot of variables going on. But the basic principle, and I think you're alluding to this in the prologue to the question, is that God hates divorce. Divorce is failure, particularly from a Christian standpoint, because we are called to be those who forgive. Now, forgiveness always takes two parties. It takes someone who is willing to forgive and someone wanting to be forgiven. Otherwise, reconciliation can't truly take place. But here's the thing that I think might help the best in terms of principle. We did an article in the Christian Research Journal. It's titled Biblical Grounds for Divorce and Remarriage. And if you'll hang on, let me send that out to you so that you can check out the principles and at least have the principles by which you can operate from a biblical motif or within the context of a biblical worldview. And then also, as I said at the very beginning of my answer, I think it's really important that you get good biblical counseling if you're about to enter into a relationship with someone who is divorced. If there are biblical grounds for divorce, the kinds of biblical grounds that I cited in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, then the door may well be open in terms of having a wonderful relationship and ultimately a marriage.